Hi there, my name is Jensen. I'm doing a beginning guitar tutorial on changing chords. I'm doing this for a friend in San Diego named Man Nguyen, but it could be used by any other beginning guitar student, so I hope this will be useful to you. Now, one of the main things before we get started on this, the only prerequisite knowledge the student needs is the knowledge of how to form 5 chords. Until you have this memorized, this video is not going to be much use to you. So you have to get the following chords memorized: D, G, A7, and then in the key of A, D, and E7. And you see one is a repeated chord, so there's a total of 5 chords. Now, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the left hand position on the guitar and what I advocate. The main player here is where you locate the thumb. So I'm going to give you a couple of alternatives that are not as good in my opinion, and so I'll try to share with you why I feel this way. The first is what I call the baseball bat grip, where you wrap your thing in very tightly here and you got your chord. The confusing part is you could play the D chord, for example, fine, but when it comes to changing, your hand is all tensed up and it isn't going to work. The next position that I don't recommend is the classical position, where the thumb is directly behind the neck. And that suits if you're playing guitar in a classical position, but my recommendation is you play a guitar with a strap, and though you're close to that classical position, you're not right there. So if you're not going to use the baseball bat grip or the classical guitar grip, something in between is what is called for. In my opinion, what it is putting the thumb right about where I have it, with the fingers arched, so that you can use it as a pivot point going from D, A7, back to D. And you'll notice that the tip of the thumb did not move. Okay? So that's what I'm recommending. As I want you to see basically what my hand is looking like, and you can see the little tip of my thumb kind of sticking up there a little bit, and that's what I'm interested in you seeing. The chord changing sequence is kind of a 3-step process. The first is I'm holding the D chord right now, and it requires a little pressure down to hold that to make a good sound, like so. Okay? If I were to, next step is to 1, relax the hand. Notice I didn't change the shape, I just relaxed the pressure. Okay, now we're going to move, pivoting on the thumb on the 2nd fret to the G chord, and then form it like this: 1, 2. Once again, I'll do that, D to G. So, relax, move and pivot, and sound the chord. So now when we go from G to A7, we go through the same process. 1, relax the hand. 2, move, pivot on the thumb, form the chord, and this time it usually takes just 1 step for A7. Okay, so once again, G, relax the hand, move, A7. Okay, now the final one, A7 back to D, and you notice the first 2 fingers are really the same, you just move over 1 string with each finger. So, 1, relax the hand, 2, move and pivot, and 1, 2. Once again, A7. Relax the hand, move and pivot, form the chord. And that's basically it in the key of D, where the chords go D, G, A7, back to D. And during that whole time, you pivot on the tip of your thumb, basically. And that's all there is for that. Notice that the first finger is opposite the thumb. Now, we have a new concept if, in fact, the first finger in a chord is in a different fret, and it's called shifting. Shifting simply means to sliding down the neck or up the neck, usually one fret, before you do the pivoting. So, for example, A to D is just like what we've done before. In other words, you just pivot on there. So you, 1, relax the hand, 2, move, 3, pivot. So there's no shift. So it goes from A7, or correction, A to D with no shift. But now the second one was going to require a shift going from D to E7. So I'm going to play the D, relax the hand, and go to E7 with the shift. Okay? So once again, D, shift, and the final one will require a shift as you go from E7 back to A. E7, shift, to A. So, E7, back to A. Okay? So, as a summation, basically what we've talked about is the left hand position, which is neither the baseball bat grip or the classical guitar grip, but something in between where your thumb can act as a pivot. And we've talked about that you have to know 5 chords: D, G, A7, and then in the key of A, D, E7. Okay? And that in the key of A, it does require a shift as well as the pivot on the thumb. I hope this has been useful to you and that you can apply this as you're working through your chord changes. If you can do these on these 2 keys, it won't be long till you'll be playing in 3 or 4 keys, which will be very important when you're trying to learn new songs. Thank you and have a good day.